Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are debating what the Delhi High Court has said on sex on promise of marriage, which may not always be rape. Well, this is your time to call us and be a part of this discussion. Do pick up your phone and reach us at 1800115314 and 23035420. Tell us what do you feel about the issue. Now, Khadija, coming to you here, since you are sitting at this helpline almost, I don't know how many hours in a day. So, do you really get cases like these wherein women are calling, or maybe even men are calling to tell you that, okay, there was a false promise and now this is what has happened and now what am I supposed to do?
See, it's a helpline for women in distress. So, we also receive men calling, but we don't handle those cases. We forward it to the police or to DLSA to handle it. But I receive almost every day a young woman calling us, a woman in the age group of normally 35, 30, saying that there was this man in my life with whom I had a relationship, live-in or without live-in, a sexual relationship. Now he has walked off my life. He wants to marry somebody else of his parents' choice, and I'm devastated. I want to do something. I want to punish him. I want to send him jail. And there are so many women who don't want to punish him, who don't want him to send him to jail, who want us to convince him to marry her,
to marry her.
Back to her.
Okay.
So, you know, like I keep on counseling my clients the whole day, saying that it's not such a big deal if somebody has walked off a relationship. You went into a relationship which
with your eyes open,
which was an open door relationship. When it was an open door relationship, you knew it, and most of these women are very educated women. So we tell them that on the day one you knew that it was an open door relationship. When it was an open door relationship, and even in a closed door relationship, even in a marriage, if a husband walks off, I always tell my client, all laws can get you your rights, but no law can bring love into your life. They can bring rights to your life, but no law can bring love to your life. And I always tell women, don't get stuck with this relationship.
Don't just cling on to this.
This relationship is not worth. And I tell you with my own experience, women get signal of man walking off their life in a very early phase.
True. It may not be an overnight.
Yes, and it's the women who have this patriarchal mindset. We all are brought in patriarchal mindset. The person whom I have sex, done. He is my Pati Parmeshwar. So I have to cling with that.
That's right.
I would like to add on. I want to add on that. Well, yes, I mean, they are brought up in that way, you know, this whole Pati Parmeshwar thing. But the expectation that the girl should be a virgin in a marriage also is very predominant.
That's true.
But ma'am, who knows I'm virgin or not?
No. I mean, it's not as though they don't.
If I walk off my relationship for 1 year, and nobody will know. It's like my I've consulted many doctors. They said nobody can know that you are virgin or not. Today's life, we are so physically active.
Let me just take this caller. Let's see what Shubham really has to say on this. So Shubham is from Uttar Pradesh. So welcome to the show, Shubham, and please go ahead.
Hello, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening to you. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, I just want to ask a question from Khadija ji. Ma'am, also I am also a teenager, 21st of my age. Ma'am, I want to ask how much responsible only men should be in this sex promises, and because women and girls are also responsible for that. Because no any relationship makes without females from.
True. So you mean to say that girls are also equally responsible for whatever really happens to that relationship? Is that right? Yes. Thank you for the question. Well, Khadija, that question is for you. See, that why do we only get after man's life here?
I'll tell you two things. Yes, I believe that when I walk into any relationship, even marriage, I am also responsible equally for that relationship. But there is another issue very strongly. If I am very strong on my views that virginity is no issue, I should not cling on to a relationship which I am seeing that it's going out of my hand. Leave it at once, move out of it. For women. For men, I have also seen men take advantage of women's emotional vulnerability. They know that this lady is in love with me, so they keep exploiting her. They keep returning back to her, they keep exploiting her, and they know that no law can catch me. So one day, just, you know, putting things off, like changing their shirt, leave their first woman, and then
like when I get bored, I just walk
and
out,
they walk
something
off.
like that.
So, you know, there are both things are existing. Men also walk off, leaving their responsibilities. See, as I told, that there is no evidence in the hand of the woman, but in one emotional moment, you hold her hand and say that we'll be there forever together. The woman takes this belief into very seriously, and she walks into that relationship for 10 years or 12 years or 13 years or 15 years for that matter. And then as she said, that her life, and women, I accept, we are fools of grade 1. We don't protect our own lives, we don't have our own bank accounts, we don't have our own money, we don't have our own things. The society don't give us, and we also don't create for us. And that's how we, when this man walks off the relationship, I'm no way.
Right. So, Sudha, what is your comment on this? Do you agree with what Khadija is saying here?
You know, I would like to say that the sort of double standards that are being practiced today, that impacts much more on the woman still, and therefore you have to get to the roots of the issue.
Correct.
Now this judge, the way that he is confusing up everything, number one, he has no business bringing in his own ideas of morality and immorality and religious tenets. He has no business doing that, and he should keep to the law. He has to uphold the law, he has to uphold the constitution, he has to be very clear.
True.
So all these judicial statements that are passed, there was another recent statement passed in another terrible case, similar in nature. So judges have to be extra careful. But having said that, when you look at society, a society which is changing, day by day changing, but the conservative sections, there's a huge backlash.
Right. It's still there.
And it is in such a situation that you're coming to terms, you're having to come to terms with this change. So I do believe that there have to be ways in which the women who are affected in such relationships, I agree that, you know, women, they become emotional, they become dependent on the man, but this is also, it has historical roots. It has roots in culture, it has roots in certain practices, ideology, mindset, tradition, all of it, all that baggage is still there. And they are not able to move out of it because the practical aspects are still the same.
Still the same.
So all those changes have to occur simultaneously. But we have a starting point, we have a secular law, and that secular law must be upheld. I mean, there should be no compromise on that. And that is where, when these judges make such pronouncements, etc., we cannot take it lying down. I feel that we must really, you know, react to that, and because what judges say creates precedent.
Absolutely.
So it should not be done. When it comes to practice, as the change occurs, let us see whether we can provide backup, whether we can provide support for these kind of things and move towards a more egalitarian sort of relationship. And marriage should not be confused with sex, and sex should not be confused with marriage.
True, true, true. So, Dr. Manju, what is your say on this? I think the crux here is this, that, you know, our notions and beliefs are still ancient, but we are trying to do something which we think that the modern society is doing. So, somewhere there is this conversion which is pretty confusing. The result is just confusion.
Absolutely. There is a truth in this, that many times we want to go back to our earlier belief systems and all. When we are in trouble, we want to use them.
Correct.
But when it comes to entertainment, enjoyment, at that time you think at what immediately I am getting, you are carried away by that. You don't think about the long term consequences. And as it is, our society has changed a great deal. Earlier in our society, it was, you know, more importance was given on the feelings of others. And now, you know, the shift is what is more suitable to me. So with this also, a lot of things are happening, and it is also related to relationship and other things also. Earlier, a person would still continue in a relationship because what other people will say if he walks out, what his parents will think about it, and what his spouse will think, and what children will have problems, they would be considered. But now people have become more and more self-oriented, and they think only about what my pleasures are, what my advantages are. So it is also leading to distress and disharmony and lot of problems.
And also I want you to take on what Khadija just mentioned, you know, because everybody, probably all girls, they grow up with this notion that if you end up with a guy in bed, that is the person who will be your Pati Parmeshwar for life. Do you think that now it is time even to question those kind of moralities also?
I would say that it is also being changed, because in educated people in all, these days we are shocked to see, in fact, because we also belong to older age group, that lots of youngsters, they are believing in multiple relationships and multiple partners. Things are changing quite rapidly, and whereas still in middle class society, earlier conservative norms are being followed.
So, no, but on the one hand, they may be experimentative and what have you, but in your experience, do you get even today's boys or young men coming and talking about virginity, as she just said, that do they still feel that, okay, the girl whom they will marry has to be a virgin?
Recently, there have been number of surveys which lot of magazines have shown, and in that also it has been reported almost as high as 71%, and it is not only in small cities, but even in metro cities also, where men or boys, they wanted to have virgin girls for
which
marriage.
means it's a big paradox.
Double standards.
Double
It's
standards.
sheer
That's
hypocrisy,
actually
double standards, and really we have to look at the conservatism that we see coming back in various ways. And we have to
so which
deal
means
with
it's going to
these
probably
things.
take another century for all these kind of changes to take place, and I don't know how many debates further.
There is a difference between attitude and practice.
That's right, that's right. We have another viewer. This is Arjun from Rajasthan. So Arjun, can you hear me please?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening to you. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, my question is, I want to ask whether a guy can be held liable to pay maintenance to the girl whom he promised to marry, but later on did not fulfill his promises.
Because of
I want to ask whether Supreme Court has given any prominent judgment or views regarding in this regard.
Well, I may not really be equipped to answer that, but we have two ladies here. So, Sudha, you can go first.
Yes, well, if there has been proof of a live-in relationship, if there is some way in which they have been able to show that they have been in a live-in relationship, certainly there is a liability, and judges now have started looking at these liabilities and they have been giving. However, when it comes to a very transitory sort of relationship, in that case the legal boundaries, the legal safeguards or the legal aspects of it are still open to interpretation. There have been instances where when the cases have come to court, the judges have ruled. There are judicial this saying that since the girl has been exploited by the boy, therefore, and so judgment follows. So there have been such judgments.
Right.
That is actually basically an interpretation. But we feel that there have to be greater safeguards, because desertion has become rather more common. And since the woman doesn't have many of the other equal benefits, etc., which should accrue to her, therefore those legal safeguards have to be built into the law.
True. Well, so there's your answer to the question, Arjun. I do hope that you followed what Sudha has just told us. Well, folks, time for us for yet another break, but do stay put as we are coming back and continuing this discussion on the other side of the break.